Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to yourplaymat.com where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from yourplaymat.com.
What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr Games, bringing you another deck that had a decent upgrade thanks to Lightning Overdrive, and that is of course Monarchs. So as you see, I've got no extra deck because there is no need, as we are playing extra deckless Monarchs. With all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content from the channel, especially with the Lightning Overdrive updates. Of course, we have Necros, Dogmaticas, Bougians, along with Amazements, and of course Security Force alongside many others. With all of that out of the way, let's dive head first in the updated Monarchs and exactly what they received to make them more relevant. So, we start off, of course, with Triple Ether, the Heavenly Monarch. This is your main boss monster. I mean, the fact that it lets you trigger and tribute during your opponent's turn, the fact that it allows you to special summon one from the deck, not only does it utilize the ability of getting other monarchs like Erebus and Karaz, but it can also get you a very spicy Luminous Dragon as well that came out in Eternity Code. Speaking of Erebus, we do play triple of this bad boy as well. Like, the two of these go together like chalk and cheese. So good side by side. The Erebus, obviously summoning himself, being able to spin a card back from your opponent's hand field without targeting is obviously going to be amazing. You've then got the one Karaz, so obviously special summoning off of Ether, you want to get as much of a bonus as possible. So Karaz gives you that ability of popping cards and drawing cards, so it really depends on if you are popping your opponent's cards or your own cards to deck fin or to give them a disruption, but a bit of a draw. Then an honorary possible Monarch is of course going to be your Siliglare, the Luminous Lunar Dragon. Now, the reason this is good is because with Ether, when you technically read it as well, it lets you special summon one monster with 2400 or more attack and 1000 defense, which is exactly what the Luminous Dragon has. Yes, you add it back to your hand during the end phase, but what Luminous Dragon does is you can normal summon or set this card without tributing, but its original attack becomes half. During the main phase, quick effect, you can target one monster your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to this card and return it to the hand. And if you do that, take control of that opponent's monster. So basically what you do is you return the Luna to the hand and you mind control one of your opponent's monsters. Now, obviously, you're only going to be able to take control of it until the end phase, and you can only use each effect once per turn. But the idea is that, worst case scenario, okay, you can normal summon this. As long as you get an additional tribute, you can tribute it off. Or as long as your opponent's got something that's less than 1400 attack, you've got a compulse or a compulse of this card and a mind control. But on top of that, of course, Ether can summon this out. So if you don't want to go for Karaz or you already use Karaz, you bring this guy out. This guy's got a quick effect to go, right, okay, return this to the hand for discard fodder or anything else later on. Keeping in mind its attributes are relevant for tenacity. And then, of course, you can take control of your opponent's monster, especially if they need it to combo off or they need it in their graveyard. Then, of course, for the Squires, you've got 2 Adia and 2 Eidos. Now, the reason we've gone 2 and 2 is the brand new cards that we have received for this kind of mean that you rely less on the Squires. And the new cards obviously give you a little bit more access to your bigger guys, which means you don't need to brick out as much with these. Before we do get onto those, we do play, of course, the Vanity package of Triple Vanity's Fiend and the 1 Majesty's Fiend. This deck actually turbos these out very, very easily now, especially with the new cards, because what this allows you to do is you just go, okay, cool, all of my cards, or the new cards are free summons, or they're free summons with a draw, or they're a free summon that gives me an additional tribute summon, which means if I get into one of these guys, I can just go, cool, tribute, and this is going to be very effective against my opponent. Speaking of the new cards, we play 2 Anachromathrite and 2 of the TCG exclusive Proof of Purchase. Now, when the Proof of Purchase was announced, I thought this was terrible. Then, of course, I saw Lithium's video and I saw a couple of other videos about Monarchs, and I was like, oh, okay, this makes a bit more sense. So, you've got to be very careful with both of these cards, because this one specifically will cause you issues for your Monarchs later on down the line. So you do need to make sure that when you use it, you are making sure that you're either making sure this doesn't... you want to make sure that this doesn't go back to your extra deck, or that if you're bringing it onto the board, you're using it as an additional beta. So in the Scout, if you have no cards in your extra deck, which you won't, except Orphorites, then of course you can destroy this card and then draw 1 card. So straight away, this one, you put in the Scout, pop it, draw a card. Nice and easy. It is a hard once per turn. Its pendulum effect is it can't be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your face-up extra deck by having no cards in your extra deck except the Morphcrites. So you can only special summon this card once per turn this way, and if this face-up card in the monster zone leaves the field, banish it. So the idea is that straight away you put this in the scale, you pop it, you draw a card. Then you can special summon it into the extra monster zone and use it as free tribute fodder. But keep in mind, the second you do that, your domain and of course your Stormforth do become more restricted, and that's obviously why we don't play Monarchs Erupt as well. Keeping that in mind, you can still bring it on the board as a free 1800 attacker that's letting you draw an additional card, and on top of that you can normal summon your squires or anything along those lines, use them as fodder. Now speaking of stuff you can normal summon, your Proof of Purphless, I call it Proof of Purchase. If you control no special summon monsters, which as long as you don't use this first, you'll be absolutely fine to do, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, that's fine. You can only use this effect once per turn. If this card is normal or special, you can immediately after this effect resolves, tribute summon one monster. So the idea is that this, as long as you have used the effect of domain to reduce the levels for Aether or Urbis, basically becomes a normal summon, tribute into Aether or Urbis. Now obviously you're going to want to go to Urbis more times than not off of this card, purely because of that fact that you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn once you do that, which means Aether's effective special from the deck is null and void. Obviously, on top of it as well, what you can do is you can normal summon this, get an additional tribute, go straight into a Majesty's Fiend or a Vanity's Fiend, and sometimes if your opponent is not playing Imperm or don't have Imperm, that is an instant pass from them as well, which gives you great fodder to move further forward from that play onwards. The final monsters we play are Ash Blossoms. These can be any hand traps you want, not specifically down to Ash Blossoms. They can be Imperms, they can be Veilers, they can be Ghost Ogres, whatever suits your fancy the most. Just something that is going to be as effective in your matchups as possible. Maybe even draw Lockbirds. So that's it for the monster lineup. Moving on to the spells. Of course, we are going to be playing Free Domain of the Monarchs. This card is nuts. This is one of your main win cons, especially if you're comboing this off of as a Vanity's Fiend and itself. The fact that your opponent cannot go into their extra deck and the fact that they can't special summon anyway means that they've not got a way to get rid of your Vanity's Fiend. Even with an Imperm, they still can't then access their extra deck, so they need to be able to special summon or normal summon a monster that has more than 2500 attack to get rid of it. So Domain is your lock and key. And then of course you've got Pantheism. You know, not only are you drawing a card with the Camouflage, but you're also using Pantheism for drawing, ditching, doing what you need to do. Tenacity, and like I said with this one, you reveal one monster with 2400 and 1000 defense, or a 2800 and 1000 defense. You get to add a Monarch spell and trap. So once you've added this back to your hand, you've got easy fodder to reveal for your Tenacity. You also reveal Vanity's Fiend or Majesty's Fiend, you're going to get an additional search. So much search capabilities in this deck, it's mad. The fact that you can draw off of Pantheism and then banish to add any one of your 3-ofs is absolutely nuts. For the 2-ofs, of course, we've got 2 Monarch Stormforth, 2 Return of the Monarchs. Now, obviously, keep in mind as well, when you're messing around with the Camouflage, you're using your extra deck. That's where Monarch's Stormforth is, as amazing as it is, becomes a bit of a difficulty. So, during the turn you activate this, you can't special summon monsters for the extra deck. So if you do use the Camouflage effect, you're not going to be able to deal with it. But being able to play Stormforth basically allows you to go, cool, treat one of your opponent's monsters nice and easy. As long as it's not unaffected by spells, you're good to go. And obviously, Return gives you consistent searching. We've then, of course, got the 1 March of the Monarchs because, you know, protecting all of these is what even better. 1 Reinforce of the Army, search out your Squire, and of course the 1 1-for-1. And then the final track cards, of course, is 2 Prime of the Monarchs. So keep in mind you can't special summon these if you choose to trigger some of your certain effects, but 9 out of 10 you're going to be activating these during your opponent's turn. And sometimes you might even want to set one of these to start spinning back some of your components back to the deck. And that is it, guys. It's very simple. There's no extra deck. There's no side deck right now. It is what it is. If you are looking for like side deck options, you're going to be putting in the staple cards like that. You're probably going to put in like Draw and Lockbirds, maybe even Ice Dragon Prisons if you want to, Monarchs Erupt. You can even put in Lightning Storms, Twin Twisters, Cosmic Cyclones, anything like that is going to be back row hate. But just the introduction of the new Purphless and the introduction of the Camouflage do give the deck a nice little bit of a draw engine plus tribute fodder, and of course it does give them the ability for a nice free tribute summon. Considering this is a TCG exclusive and this has been out in the OCG for a while, it's kind of nice to get additional cards that can help Monarchs play and operate a little bit more, especially considering that Monarchs are technically back at full power, just not the extra deck Monarch version. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.
Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to yourplaymat.com where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from yourplaymat.com.